There's something magical about air travel, isn't there? The excitement of heading somewhere new, the hum of the engines, that little thrill when the plane lifts off the ground. But let's be honest, flying isn't always as comfortable as it used to be, especially when you've got a few more years under your belt. Those seats feel smaller, the flights feel longer, and suddenly, that quick trip leaves you stiff, tired, or just plain uncomfortable. But here's something I've learned over the years. Airlines actually offer quite a few freebies and accommodations for seniors. You just have to know what to ask for. And no, I'm not talking about upgrades or fancy perks, though wouldn't that be nice? I'm talking about simple, practical things that can make your flight so much more comfortable. Things most people don't even realize they can request. Now, I'm not suggesting you become that passenger, the one who demands extra treatment just because. But if you're over 60, there's no shame in asking for a little help to make your journey smoother. After all, you've earned it. So, let's talk about some of these little-known freebies. Some might surprise you. 1. Priority boarding, without paying extra. You've probably seen those signs for priority boarding and assumed it's only for first-class passengers or frequent flyers. But here's a secret. Many airlines offer early boarding for seniors at no extra cost. You don't even need to be in a special loyalty program. Just ask at the gate. Why does this matter? Well, boarding early means you can settle in without the stress of rushing down the aisle. You'll have plenty of time to stow your bag, get comfortable, and maybe even snag that precious overhead bin space before it fills up. No wrestling with luggage while a line of impatient travelers waits behind you. 2. A free seat reassignment for extra legroom. Now, we all know airlines love to charge extra for premium seats with more legroom, but if the flight isn't full, you can often ask a flight attendant if there's an empty row or a better seat available after boarding. Here's how it works. Once the cabin door closes and it's clear there are open seats, politely ask, "Is there anywhere with a little more space I could move to?" Flight attendants usually want passengers to be comfortable, and if there's an empty spot, they'll often let you switch. No fee required. I've done this more than once and ended up with an entire row to myself. 3. Extra snacks or drinks. Yes, really. You might think the days of free airline meals are long gone, and for the most part, they are. But here's a little trick. If you're feeling peckish after the initial drink and snack service, don't hesitate to ask for another. Flight attendants often have extra snacks like pretzels, cookies, or even fruit tucked away, and they're usually happy to give them out if you ask nicely. Same goes for drinks. If you'd like another coffee, tea, or even just water, just press the call button and ask. No need to wait for the cart to come back around. And here's a bonus tip. If you have dietary restrictions, many airlines will provide a special meal, like low sodium or diabetic-friendly options, if you request it in advance when booking. It's free, and it can make a big difference if you're watching what you eat. Assistance with your luggage. Lugging a heavy carry-on into the overhead bin isn't just a hassle. It can be downright risky if you've got a bad back or stiff joints. But guess what? You don't have to struggle. Flight attendants are trained to assist passengers who need help, and that includes lifting bags. Just ask, "Could someone help me with this, please?" And they'll either assist you themselves or find a crew member or even a kind fellow passenger to step in. Some airlines even offer wheelchair assistance from the gate to your seat if you have mobility issues. No medical documentation required. You just need to request it when you book your ticket or at the check-in counter. Now, these are just the first few freebies you can take advantage of, but there are so many more. Did you know you can ask for a blanket even on short flights? Or that some airlines will give you free access to better entertainment if you just speak up? Stick around, because in the next part, we'll dive into even more ways to make your flight smoother, more comfortable, and maybe even a little more enjoyable, all without spending an extra dime. You know, one of the best things about getting older is learning how to work the system in a good way. After decades of life experience, we've earned the right to travel comfortably without breaking the bank. And, like we talked about last time, airlines actually offer quite a few free amenities that can make your journey much more pleasant if you just know to ask. Now, I don't know about you, but when I first realized how many little comforts were available just for the asking, I kicked myself for all those years I spent sitting stiffly in my seat, thinking I had to just tough it out. Well, no more. Let's dive into some more of these hidden freebies that can turn a stressful flight into a much smoother experience. 5. Extra pillows and blankets. Even on short flights, remember when airlines used to automatically give everyone a pillow and blanket? Those days may be gone, but here's the good news. Most planes still carry them. They just don't hand them out unless someone asks. If you're someone who gets chilly, and let's face it, planes are always either freezing or stuffy, don't suffer in silence. Simply flag down a flight attendant and ask, "Do you have any extra blankets or pillows available?" More often than not, they'll bring you one with a smile. I've even been given 2 blankets on a long flight when I mention I tend to get cold. It's a small thing, but when you're trying to nap at 30,000 feet, that extra coziness makes all the difference. 6. A pre-flight beverage. While you wait, here's something most people miss. Many airlines offer complimentary water, juice, or even coffee before takeoff if you ask nicely. This is especially handy if you've had to rush to your gate, or if you take medication that requires you to stay hydrated. Next time you're settled in your seat, but the plane's still boarding, try catching a flight attendant's eye and saying, "Would it be possible to get a glass of water before we take off?" They'll usually accommodate you unless they're swamped with safety checks. It's a tiny luxury that makes the pre-flight wait much more pleasant. 7. Free basic medical supplies. This one could be a real lifesaver, literally. Airlines carry basic medical kits, and if you find yourself needing something like aspirin, antacids, bandages, or even motion sickness tablets, don't hesitate to ask. I learned this the hard way when I got a splitting headache mid-flight and realized I'd forgotten my pain relievers. When I sheepishly asked a flight attendant if they had anything, she promptly brought me a sealed packet of aspirin. No charge. Of course, they can't provide prescription meds, but for minor ailments, it's worth asking before you suffer through discomfort. 8. A guided escort for connecting flights. If you've got a tight connection or a large airport to navigate, many airlines offer meet and assist services where an agent will help you get to your next gate quickly. This isn't widely advertised, but it's especially helpful if you have mobility concerns or just don't want to rush through a crowded terminal. You can request this when booking your ticket or at the check-in counter by saying, "I'd appreciate some assistance making my connection. Is that available?" They might send a wheelchair attendant or just a staff member to guide you. Either way, it takes the stress out of rushing. 9. The secret to better in-flight entertainment. Here's a fun one. Some airlines lock their premium movies or TV shows behind a paywall, but if you ask politely, they might just give you free access. I was on a flight last year where new releases cost $8 to watch, until I overheard another passenger say, "I'm a frequent flyer. Any chance of a complimentary movie?" The attendant smiled and unlocked it for her. Now, this isn't guaranteed, but it never hurts to ask, especially if you're on a long flight. Try something like, "These movies look great. Are there any complimentary options available?" The worst they can say is no, but you might just score free entertainment. And we're just getting started. Did you know you can request a special meal even if you didn't order one in advance? Or that some airlines will let you visit the cockpit after landing if you ask nicely? Yes, really. In the next part, we'll wrap up with some of the most surprising free perks, including how to get a little extra TLC from the crew without feeling like you're imposing, because travel should be enjoyable at any age, and sometimes all it takes is knowing what to ask for. You know what I've realized after all these years of traveling? The difference between a miserable flight and a pleasant one often comes down to the little things. Those small comforts that make you feel cared for, rather than just another passenger crammed into a metal tube. And what's truly wonderful is how many of those comforts are available to us seniors for free, if we just know to ask. Over these last 2 parts, we've uncovered some fantastic secrets, from priority boarding to extra snacks and even help with connections. But I've saved some of the best for last, the kind of perks that can turn your flight from just okay to, you know what? That was actually nice. 10. A surprise comfort kit. This one's a hidden gem. Many airlines keep small comfort kits stocked with items like earplugs, an eye mask, socks, or even dental kits, especially on long-haul flights. They don't advertise them, but if you ask a flight attendant, "Do you have any comfort items for passengers?" they'll often hand you a little package. I discovered this when I was on an overnight flight and couldn't sleep. The attendant noticed me rubbing my eyes and offered me a kit with a sleep mask and earplugs. It wasn't fancy, but it made the rest of the flight so much better. 11. A visit to the cockpit after landing. Now this might sound like something only kids get to do, but here's a sweet secret. Pilots are often happy to let seniors take a peek inside the cockpit after the flight when it's safe and they're not busy. Just wait until most passengers have deplaned, then politely ask a flight attendant, "Would the crew have time to show me the cockpit?" More often than not, if the pilots aren't rushed, they'll let you step inside, snap a photo, and even explain a few controls. It's a delightful little moment that makes flying feel special again. 12. Hot water for your own tea or soup. Tired of paying $4 for a cup of tea? Here's a trick. Pack your own tea bags or instant soup and ask the flight attendant for a cup of hot water. Most are happy to provide it for free. No need to buy their beverages. I always carry a few herbal tea bags in my purse. Not only does it save money, but it's also a comforting ritual that makes flying feel a little more like home. 13. A temporary seat buddy for nervous flyers. If you're feeling anxious or just don't want to fly alone, don't underestimate the kindness of the crew. One time, after a bumpy takeoff, I mentioned to a flight attendant that I was a bit nervous. She checked on me several times during the flight, even sitting next to me for a few minutes during calm moments to chat. You don't have to suffer in silence. A simple, "This is my first flight in a while. I'm a little uneasy," can prompt the crew to offer extra reassurance. 14. A free glass of wine. Sometimes. Okay, this one's not guaranteed, but it's worth a try. Some airlines offer complimentary alcohol in economy on international flights, but even on domestic routes. If you're celebrating something, a birthday, anniversary, or even just retirement, mention it. I once overheard a woman tell a flight attendant, "It's my first trip since retiring," and the attendant brought her a free glass of champagne. It never hurts to share a little joy. You might get a celebratory treat in return. 15. The most important freebie of all. Patience. This last one isn't something you can hold in your hands, but it's just as valuable. Airlines train their crews to offer extra time and assistance to seniors, whether it's helping you down the aisle, explaining procedures slowly, or just offering a kind word. The key? Don't be afraid to say, "I'd appreciate a little extra time," or "Could you explain that one more time?" The crew would rather help you feel comfortable than watch you struggle. Flying doesn't have to be something you just endure. With these simple asks, you can reclaim the joy of travel, or at least make it a whole lot easier. The secret isn't demanding special treatment, it's knowing what's already available to you and having the confidence to request it. So next time you're on a plane, remember, you've earned these little courtesies. Whether it's an extra blanket, a helping hand with your bag, or just a smile if I am a crew member who takes a moment to check on you, these small gestures can make all the difference. Happy travels, my friends. May your flights be smooth, your seats be roomy, and your journey be filled with kindness, because you deserve it. Do subscribe to keep the circle growing.